lineman to watch at the All-Star game. Following a great senior year, he came into All-Star Week looking like one of the better lineman prospects this year. And right from the start, the coaches challenged him using blitz packages and other stunts to see how he would react. He handled everything that was thrown at him and not once looked overwhelmed or gassed from the extra attention. Todd McShay tells me he looked like a dominant force on the line, keeping the quarterback clean and opening holes for the tailback to run through. He should be a great fit on this team's offensive line and possibly a day one starter.
Do something crazy. Do something crazy.
The Dolphins are now on the clock.
Got fireworks. Let's blow some done. Tonight I'm going stupid. Doing things I've never done. We all got one thing in common. We just want to have fun. Hey. Do what you want to do. Think about to do it. Think about to do it. Do something crazy.
The Redskins are now on the clock.
Do something crazy, do something wild, be someone different, switch up the style. Do something crazy, do something wild, do something crazy, do something wild.
Let's go to Adam Schefter now. He's got more to say about the Redskins' latest pick.
When I ask scouts around the league what his biggest asset is, they always point to his father. His dad is a high school coach that knows how to consistently finish in the top of the school's division. And ever since he was able to walk, he's been on the sidelines for every game. Even after he leaves practice at night, he's still getting advice from his dad at home. And from what I've heard from scouts who've watched him play, you can tell the extra coaching has helped. Even during interviews at the Combine, I was told by several GMs that he was one of their favorite players to talk to. He has his dad's eye for the game, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him become a coach one day himself. I like him a lot, and he'll be a great addition to the team.
The Redskins are now on the clock.
She wants to do light a fire, hit and run.
The Dolphins are now on the clock.
She wants to overthrow our love. Maybe too much ain't enough, and we won't make it out alive.
The Dolphins are now on the clock. The Houston Voyagers are now on the clock. Let's go to Adam Schefter now, who has more on the Voyagers' last pick.
There have been plenty of incredible moments in college football history, but rarely do you see a game end in a safety. Late in the fourth quarter, his team was down, and its opponent was trying to run out the clock. However, he came hard off the snap, demolished two blockers, and crashed down on the quarterback before he even had time to hand off the ball. That safety was enough to give them the win and send his draft stock soaring. His raw strength alone was enough for this team to take a chance on him, and we'll see if he can develop into a dominant defensive lineman.
The Dolphins are now on the clock. The Falcons are now on the clock.
Don't make me beg, don't make me wait. I need a hope in the darkness of the night. And when I stray, show me my place. You are my shelter, baby, let me feel your light.
Falcons pick is in. Adam, give us the rundown.
This is a guy whose name has been mentioned as the top quarterback in the draft ever since that outstanding head-to-head performance against a fellow quarterback that came into the season with a lot of hype surrounding him. I was told by several organizations that the confidence shown in that game, along with his raw physical ability, had him shooting up their draft boards. Time will only tell if he develops into a franchise quarterback or not, but he certainly has established himself as a player to watch closely in the pre- and early season. I wouldn't be surprised to see him starting by week 5.
This aching pain when you're away, like a burning ship that sets the sails to you. Fingertips, that's my lips, make me sing that holy song the way you do. Holy Ghost inside, let it loose.
Buccaneers are now on the clock. Our very own Adam Schefter has more to say about this pick.
While you wouldn't normally be surprised to see a quarterback winning the Heisman, it's his electric style of play on the field that makes him a little more intriguing versus previous Heisman-winning quarterbacks. He was one of the most exciting players to watch in all of college football, making plays with his arm and his feet. He's an escape artist, turning would-be sacks into dazzling touchdown throws. He's going to need to learn to operate more in the pocket in the NFL, but I'm excited to see what this Heisman winner will do for his new team.
The Bengals are now on the clock.
Turn up. I'm breaking in. I'm at the pearly gates, but they won't let it in. I told the devil, I said.
All right, let's go to Adam Schefter, who's got more on this pick.
I'm not surprised to see him taken with this pick, given he was probably one of the most dominant defensive linemen in college this season. His combination of athleticism and set of pass rush moves gave college offensive linemen fits and gave him a leg up on the rest of the competition. Pass rushers are at a premium in the NFL these days, and when someone with his talent is available, you need to take him. If his performance this season is any indication, he has the potential to be a playmaker on the defensive line for years to come.
The Rams are now on the clock.
Daddy, let me in. Daddy, let me in. If not, I'm breaking in. I'm breaking in. I'm breaking in.
The Chiefs are now on the clock. The Jaguars are now on the clock. The Saints are now on the clock. The Ravens are now on the clock. The Vikings are now on the clock.
Don't bother, don't bother. I left the mob on it hard like Johnny. She asked me, do you love me? I'm like, what I told you. As a whole boss, and that 40 keep it funky, I keep it funky. Not important, that's not important. I'm just wanting up, and she just wanna let my money on my money. That came up, and I don't know. I don't know where I go tomorrow. Came up, and I don't know. I don't know what's gonna come tomorrow. Came up, and I don't know. I don't know where I go tomorrow. Came up, and I don't know. I don't know what's gonna come tomorrow. Yeah, I don't even worry about tomorrow. It might be some money. It might be.
Vikings just made their pick. Adam, what can you tell us about him?
This kid is an explosive defensive talent. Sadly for fans of college football, his career came to an abrupt end after he suffered a grade 3 groin tear while attempting to make a tackle. After surgery, weeks of intensive, platelet-rich plasma therapy, and months of strength training of the affected area, he looked like his old self when he took the field for his pro day. Some scouts in attendance even felt as though he looked stronger and faster than before the injury. I'd expect him to get reps with the first-team defense come training camp, and don't be surprised to see him starting in week 1.
Came up, and I don't know. I don't know what's gonna come tomorrow. Came up, and I don't know. I don't know where I go tomorrow. Came up, and I don't know. I don't know what's gonna come tomorrow. Yeah.
The Falcons are now on the clock.
I don't know what's gonna come tomorrow. I don't know what's gonna come tomorrow. Yeah.
Yes, ain't gonna waste you, lover. No way it'll be alright. You're messing with a rogue wolf, baby. Darkness gonna break your life. No prayer gonna part my thunder. No one's gonna change my mind. You're messing with a sickness, baby. Your heart is a plague on mine. I am the missile. I am the fire.
Adam, what can you tell us about that last pick?
Until his pro day, most people thought this kid was purely a blocking tight end. But when the scouts showed up to see what else he could do, they were surprised by what they saw. For a big guy, he's incredibly athletic. His 40 time and vertical places him near the top of his class. When it came time for passing drills, he looked like a natural, adjusting his body and making every catch. I was even told that some throws were scripted to make the big guy go up high, showing off that red zone potential that every quarterback loves. After that pro day, it's no surprise to see him get drafted here.
All right, now that the pick's in, let's go to Adam. Adam, what can you tell us about this guy?
Like football, rugby's a sport that's played with guys of all shapes and sizes. In his case, he was one of the big guys pushing and pulling blocks in the center of the pitch. He was playing rugby for a university in Australia before he was recruited to transfer and play football for 2 seasons here in America. His first year was spent adjusting to the game, getting used to the different rules and how to play his position properly. The guy even had to adjust how he tackled now that he had to wear pads and a helmet. But his second year is really where we started to see what he could potentially do. He's a physical player at the line of scrimmage. The team was able to pick up a good addition to its line with a bit of an interesting history.
Love is destruction. There's a war
All right, team is now off the clock. Adam Schefter, can you tell us about their newest player?
Well, he was creeping up draft boards around the league until he took a big hit late in the season that knocked him out for weeks. Unfortunately, when the combine invites went out, he was still rehabbing from corrective surgery. Without his combine numbers, it became difficult for scouts to compare him with other players in his position group. His pro day didn't help much either, as he looked much worse than he did before the injury. I've heard from a source that the team had a workout with him where they did their own evaluation of his health. I guess they must have liked what they saw to have just drafted him now.
Hello, transmission. Now you're in control.
The Panthers are now on the clock.
Everybody's bathing in holy water. Ain't enough gone around. Raise their cups, wet their crowns. You're sitting on a ghost stained altar. Feel the jungle you sound. I walk in, I feel, I taste the blood in my mouth. My eyes blue shiny purple and I'm riddled with doubt. It feels so peculiar, boiling hot in my soul. Farewell transmission, not meant for this world. I look up, I look down. Everybody's bathing in holy water. Ain't enough gone around. Raise their cups, wet their crowns. You're sitting on a ghost stained altar. Feel the jungle you sound.
The Seahawks are now on the clock.
Tonight, drifted off to sleep. Tonight, must be having a bad dream. I look up, I look down. Everybody's bathing in holy water. Ain't enough gone around. Raise their cups, wet their crowns. You're sitting on a ghost stained altar. Feel the jungle you sound. Turn up and make it sound to believe in. You know you got to turn up to make the heart go. I said you got to turn up and put your hand on I can see that. You know you got to turn up to keep 'em begging for. I set my soul on fire, offer you my love, and I build a house of dirt and bone from the ground. You talk it.
The Patriots are now on the clock.